3 kilogram with a velocity of -2 meter per second, students. Okay, after collision, students, the first particle has a speed of first particle has speed of 1.6 meter per second in negative x direction. Since the question asked us find velocity of center of mass after collision. Velocity of center of mass after collision. Velocity of second particle after collision. Velocity of second particle after collision. And third, coefficient of restitution. Friends, hope the question is clear to all of you all. 3 questions are given. It's a simple question, students. Once again, I'll repeat the question, students. A body of mass 2 kilograms having a velocity of 5 by meter per second has a head-on collision with a mass of 3 kilograms moving to the velocity of -2 meter per second, students. After collision, the first particle has a speed of 1.6 meter per second in negative x direction, students. The question asks is find out the velocity of center of mass after collision. After collision, I want velocity of center of mass, velocity of the second particle after collision, and coefficient of restitution. Students, hope the question is clear to all of you all. Please, this should be answered by all of them. Om, Shona, Shreyash, Swati, Disha, Udit, Gauri, Adarshni.
Yes, sir.
Okay, answer. I want you to answer.
So what is the second question? What you have written?
Velocity of second particle after collision. Put all the 3 answers together, students. If you want to give answers, put all 3 together. Aditi has posted a first answer. Okay, Suhani has put forward answer. Absolutely correct. Aditi has also given an answer. Sanjana has also given the answer. Come on, the rest of you all. Come on, these students shouldn't take much time. Janani, you should get it. Khyati, Arthvi, Soumya, Sneha. Yana, come on, get it fast, Yana. Shreyash, can you unmute yourself and answer for this question, Shreyash? Shreyash, are you there? Okay, Parthu, you answer.
Sir, I'm doing actually 1 minute.
Okay. Fine. Okay, students, Sanjana and Suhani are raising hands, students.
Sir, done.
Okay, Parthu, bolo.
Yes, sir. Sir, first of all, I found out the velocity of the second particle by the law of conservation of momentum.
Okay.
That
You
would,
found out the B answer first.
yes.
Okay, was it required to find out A part?
Sir, actually, I didn't do the first part. I did the second and the third part.
Yes, okay, wait a moment. Anybody else? Anybody else? Is it so that we have to follow this order that A has to be found out first, B, and then first A, then B, and then C?
Sir, it would be a lot easier if you do the second part first than the first part.
No, okay, fine. If I don't do the second part, how can I find out the first part?
So we can't find out the first.
You can't find out the first part. Anybody else? Anybody else? Yes, Khyati, you want to answer something?
So I did the second part first.
Students, in this problem, of course, you need to get this in order to get answer. You can't find it. As Sanjana said it very clearly. He said, look, nahi find out. Can you give me the formula for velocity of center of mass after collision? What's the formula of
M1
velocity?
V1 plus M2 V2
M2
upon
V2
M1
upon
plus
M1
M2.
plus M2.
M1, and should I put U1 or V1? It's V1 after
V1.
collision. Final velocity hoga plus M2 V2 in vector form. I can consider upon M1 plus M2. Now, when you look into it, students, what exactly this velocity is given to you? ये कौन सी velocity दी है? Is it V1 or U1?
U1.
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 It's U1. What about this velocity is given to you?
U2.
U2.
It's U2 is given to you. I get it. The first particle has a speed of this. So what is this we consider is
V1.
V1. What is the question asked to be found out?
V2.
V2.
And then can I find out V2 from here and substitute back over here to get my answer of velocity of center of mass?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Fine. Now anybody you can answer? Okay. Kathy and Yana has raised. Kathy, can you answer first? Suhani and Sanjana, you'll get different questions, okay, later on. Yes, Kathy, can you answer?
Yes,
Unmute
sir.
yourself.
As you have written the formula, V of center of mass. Sir, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
So M1 V1 plus M2 V2 by M1 plus M2. So it will be 2 into minus 1.6 plus 3 into 2.4 by
No, but first
5.
find out V2. How do you find out V2?
So M1 into V1 plus M2 into V2 by M1 plus V1. No, sir.
Well, also,
First, we will do conservation of momentum. So
yes.
M1 U1 plus M2 U2 equals to M1 V1 plus M2 V2. So
Okay.
we will get 2 into 5 plus 3 into minus 2 equals to 2 into 1.6 plus 3 into V2.
2 into, is it plus 1.6 or minus 1.6?
So minus 1.6.
Okay. Plus M2 is equal to how much? 3 into V2.
8.
And you'll get the answer of V2 is how much?
2.4.
2.4 I meter per second. And that you're going to put back over here. Therefore, the velocity of center of mass over here will be equal to M1 V1, that is 2 into 5 plus M2 you said it 3 into 2.4 upon M1
Sir,
plus
2 into 1 point minus 1.6.
oh, no, very sorry. It's V1, isn't it? So
Yes.
velocity is minus 1.6. So it's 2 into minus 1.6 plus 3 into 2.4. That's
Yes.
what you indicate, isn't it? And M1 plus M2.
Yes,
2
sir.
plus. And the answer for this, what are you getting?
4I by 5.
Okay, that is 0.8 I meter per second. Fine. Okay. Yeah, now can you tell me about coefficient of restitution? First, can you define coefficient of restitution?
It's a relative velocity after collision upon relative velocity before collision.
Okay, relative velocity of the two bodies approaching before collision. That's what is the denominator. And for perfectly elastic and inelastic collision, what are the values of E?
Perfectly elastic it is 1, and for perfectly inelastic it is 0.
Okay, for inelastic collisions, what is the condition required? If the bodies after collision, if the two bodies collide with each other, and if I say that the collision is inelastic, then what is the condition?
They will move
Consider,
with same velocity.
okay, that means the two objects will move with same velocity. So both the bodies can go together, they can stick to each other, they can stack to each other, and they move with same velocity. In case of inelastic collision, what is conserved and what is not conserved? Inelastic collision.
Inelastic collision momentum is conserved, kinetic energy is not conserved.
Okay, energy is not considered. That means there is loss in kinetic energy we consider. Very good. Okay, now can you give me the answer for this coefficient of restitution? So your formula will be, can you tell me the formula first? E is equal to?
V2 minus V1 upon U1 minus U.
Okay, V2 minus V1 upon U1 minus U2. So now substituting the values, what exactly you're getting it?
It's 2.4 minus
Should I
1.6.
should I put the vector notations?
What? Could you please repeat?
Should I put vector notations for the final velocities of the two bodies after collision and the initial
No,
velocity? Yes or no?
no.
No. Okay, fine. Then what is V2? What is V2? 2.4
Yes.
minus what is V1? 1.6, isn't it? Then are you there? Upon U1 is how much? 5 minus U2. How much is U2 you have got it as? 2. What's the answer for this? Yana, are you there, Yana? Yana, knock, knock. Where are you? Yana, knock, knock. Knock, knock. Where are you? Yes, who wants to answer this?
So can I?
Bolo.
So we'll take the vector notations.
Why do we need to go for vector notation? Yana was saying it, no need to go for vector notation. Why are you taking vectors?
So because we can get the direction from there.
We can get the
So direction of the particle by the vector notations. Like in this case, it was minus sign, so it would be minus 1.6 if we take the vector notation.
मुझे ये बताओ Sanjana, how did you get the formula for coefficient of restitution? From where did you get it? From where did you get the formula for coefficient of restitution? What did he do in order to get the value of a coefficient of restitution?
The ratio of the relative velocity.
So, but how did I get this ratio?
It's a kinetic energy and momentum relation.
Kinetic energy and
So conserving the mechanical energy.
conserving
And-
mechanical energy. Yes, anybody? How did I get the relation for coefficient of restitution, students?
So we conserve the total momentum and the energy, then we divided it.
When you divided, what exactly you got? You got the masses to get cancelled.
Yes, sir.
Aggregate, and then we use a relation of a plus b and a minus b. That is what we considered, and then
Yes,
we took
sir.
the ratios accordingly.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now when you speak about it, students, what exactly we try to go for it, students? We go for conservation of mechanical energy, students. The first question, students, the first equation we used was law of conservation of linear momentum. Are you getting it, students? We took law of conservation of linear momentum and we went for mechanical energy we considered. We took the two relations, students, and we got the relation for coefficient of restitution. Students, when you speak about for your value of E, the value of E, students, should be always between, the value of E is always between 0 and 1. Now, that is practically possible, students, when you're trying to go for it, when simply go for vector notation. Students, vector notation also speaks about the direction of motion of the body. Agar tum yahan pe, if I try to go for it with 1.6, what is the difference of this will be, students? How much is this? This will be
0.8.
0.8 and 5 minus 2 will be how much? 3.
3.
I getting it? So your answer will be in terms of what if I have to go for 8/30, which is very small, but over here, students, we need to go for the velocities because this is going in the direction opposite, students. So यहाँ पे जब तुम coefficient of restitution के बारे में बात करते हो, तो you can consider the vector because they have given the velocities in terms of vector notations. So I can consider this as minus 1.6 in the negative direction, students. और ये जो 2 है, that is in what direction we consider?
So that
This
is
is-
also negative.
Yeah, so now if I have to consider what is my final answer will be, so this will be, numerator will be equal to how much?
4.
4i upon 7i.
7.
So that will be 4/7. Yana, is it clear, Yana?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the next question.
Sir, 1 minute. I have to-
Oh, very sorry, Yana. You are sounding very strict today, very serious. Why are you so serious in life? See, Soumya. Soumya, are you back from native or still in native?
So that both the velocities in this question we have to take in vector form, right?
Yes, yes. Can I erase now?
Yes.
Suppose if I happen to give you an inclined plane is given to your students, and the base of the inclined plane is at an angle of 45 degrees. Okay. And there are two identical blocks are made to be released from top of an inclined plane. One is A and the other is B. I repeat, students. Okay, an inclined plane whose base angles are given to us 45. So, but of course, we consider the two base angles are given to us 45. Okay, and the two blocks are identical. Okay, they are released on the two sides of a fixed wedge. This is a fixed wedge we consider, that is C. Let us say C is a fixed wedge we consider, and the diagram is as shown to you, students. The question asked is find the acceleration of center of mass of block A and B. Neglect friction. You have to neglect friction. You have to find out acceleration of center of mass of block A and block B. Students, hope the question is clear. Shall I give you the options, students? Option A, minus G. Option B, minus G by 2. Option C, minus G by root 2. Option D, none of these.
So both are of equal masses?
I said identical. I
Okay,
repeat,
sir.
two identical blocks. Okay. Two identical blocks A and B are released from an inclined plane, and the base of the inclined plane forms an angle of 45 degrees with each. Okay. And they are made to move down an inclined plane of the two sides of a fixed wedge. The wedge is C. As shown, find the acceleration of center of mass of block A and B. Neglect friction. Options are minus G by 2, minus G by root 2, none of these. It's very easy. Guys, y'all don't answer at all. Udit, you don't answer at all. Tisha, you don't answer at all. Vidhi, you don't answer at all. Adarshni, you don't answer at all. Gauri, you don't answer at all. Sparsh, you don't answer at all. Shona, you don't answer at all. It seems that I have to force you all to answer. Soumya, you don't answer at all. Pranshu, you don't answer at all. Om, you don't answer at all. Meera, you don't answer at all. Janani today is zipped. She's not speaking at all. She's sleeping. Janani, are you there in the lectures or not?
Yes, sir, I'm there. Sir, I'm not sleeping.
Okay, fine. It seems that you had your tea or coffee or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Be awake. Don't go to sleep, okay? I'm not speaking a lullaby.
No, sir, I'm very awake, sir.
Very good. Yes, students, anybody? Jana has given the answer. Sanchin has given the answer. Jana and Sanjana, both of them have tried to give an answer, students. How many of you all go ahead with that? I want to see. Please post your answers as fast as possible. Yes, anybody? Students, shall I solve it for you all, students? Students, shall I solve it for you?
So can you tell the correct answer first?
Okay, I changed the question, students. I changed the entire question, students. Now, dhyan se suna, students. Let us go for an identical question. What you have done it earlier. Did we do a question onto an inclined plane earlier also?
Yes.
अगर तुम्हें याद हो तो.
Yes, sir.
Students, एक ने 60 डिग्रीज दिया था और एक 30 डिग्रीज दिया था और यहाँ पे एक ब्लॉक था और यहाँ पे ब्लॉक था और both of them are connected by a string and they were made to pass through a fixed pulley. कुछ याद आ रहा है, students? Let us say the two blocks are identical.
Yes, sir.
तो ये ब्लॉक नीचे की तरफ जाएगा और ये ब्लॉक ऊपर की तरफ जाएगा. क्यों भाई? What's the reason behind it? क्योंकि इसका जो acceleration है वो g थीटा होगा, है ना? Down the inclined plane. आया ना?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
यहाँ पे mg sin थीटा और इसका जो होगा ये क्या होगा? ये g sin 30 होगा. मुझे बताओ, is sin 60 greater or sin of 30 is greater? Sin of 60 is √3/2. Agreed? So 1.732 divided by 2 and approximately 0.2816 और ये sin 30 is half, means can I say nearly 0.5. तो ये acceleration इससे greater होगा तो motion इस तरफ होगा. क्या ये clear हुआ सबको?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now please pay attention. When we did this particular question, see students, there are ways in which a student should understand. अगर मैंने यहाँ पे भी मैंने क्या question पूछा था? Acceleration of center of mass. Acceleration of center of mass यानी m1 into acceleration of the first body, m2 acceleration of the second body upon m1 plus m2. Is this a formula for acceleration of center of mass, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now we speak about, yeah, let me take this as acceleration of the first body. This is the acceleration of the second body. But now should I go for the reference frame? Why not? If I happen to consider in this case, since agar मैं इसको reference लेता हूँ in that case, so one body is going in the downward direction, other body is going in the upward direction. We consider. I get it. तो अगर मैं डाउनवर्ड और अपवर्ड मोशन के हिसाब से देखूं तो I can consider one to be negative, that one to be positive. Means one of the accelerations I can take it in terms of what? I can take it in negative, otherwise I'm going to take it in positive. Students, तभी जाके हमें यहाँ पे क्या मिला था? Difference मिला. And students, if I try to find out this is in magnitude, students, जैसे मैंने इसको acceleration ले लिया तो एक को मैं positive ले सकता हूँ, एक को मैं negative ले सकता हूँ. Any of it I can consider. Suppose if I say this is down the inclined plane, I'll take this as negative. This is up the inclined plane, I can take this as positive. What is my answer? Sir, masses were same. Students, masses were same. Can I remove m common over here? Yes. Denominator, can I write on 2m over here? Yes. What about the acceleration? So this is g sine 60. This is g sine 30. And there is a difference between the two. क्या ये clear हुआ, students?
Yes, sir.
क्या ये clear हुआ, students? Is this clear? Exactly. Now think for this. Same way you have to go for this. और मैंने जानबूझ के negative sign और none of these इसलिए दिया because I want in terms of vector form. What exactly my answer for the acceleration of center of mass, students? Acceleration of center of mass. Acceleration of center of mass, students, is given by the formula m1a1 plus m2a2 upon m1 plus m2. यहाँ पे m1 is equal to m2 is equal to m. Now if I say what is the acceleration of this body down the inclined plane, so it's g sine 45. यहाँ पे भी क्या है? G sine 45. यानी A is moving down with an acceleration g by root 2. This is also going down with an acceleration g by root 2. Can I say this is my A1, this is my A2? If I try to go for the resultant, students, so can I say shift this vector parallel to itself? Tail, head. Where is the resultant of the acceleration of center of mass? So it is going to act in the downward direction. क्या ये clear हुआ, students?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
So now if I happen to ask you, can I say what is acceleration of the first one plus acceleration of the second one is equal to the resultant acceleration? And students, what is the resultant acceleration in magnitude? क्या आ रहा है? Magnitude क्या होगा? तो बोले सर ये g by root 2 है, ये भी g by root 2 है, तो ये आंसर क्या होगा? What is this answer?
The whole root of a1 square plus a2.
That is g, है ना? Root of
Yes.
Yes,
g
sir.
by the whole square plus g by root 2 the whole square. तो आंसर g आएगा ना? लेकिन ये मैग्नीट्यूड में है. क्या मुझे मैग्नीट्यूड चाहिए और मुझे वेक्टर फॉर्म में चाहिए?
Vector.
So what exactly the resultant acceleration? What exactly consider as minus g we consider? Are you getting it? That means can I say this is the resultant acceleration? Sorry, this is the resultant acceleration. So can I say this is the resultant acceleration of each of them? Down the inclined plane we consider vertical downward. Now if I happen to go for acceleration of center of mass, what is the formula? m1 a1 plus m2 a2 upon m1 plus m2, students. Can I remove mass common? Students, numerator, can I remove mass common?
Yes, sir.
This will be a1 plus a2 upon 2m. Two masses are the same. What is a1 plus a2 in vector form? Minus g. M will get cancelled. Divided by 2. What's your answer? क्या ये clear हुआ?
Yes, sir.
Students, I found out the vector form of it. Students, each has an acceleration of g by root 2. Students, यहाँ पे a1 और a2 each has an acceleration of g by root 2 we consider. But if I try to go for the resultant in vector form, it will be minus g. Magnitude is g in vector form minus g. यानी अगर मैं a1 बार plus a2 बार, क्या ये vector notation में है? हाँ, vector notation में. तो इसका रिजल्ट आंसर किस में होगा सर? माइनस जी आएगा. M and M gets cancelled. What's the answer? Minus G by 2. Negative sign shows that it's directed downwards. So if I want to give the acceleration of center of mass of the two blocks in magnitude, G by 2, directed vertically downwards, therefore negative sign. Students, क्या ये clear हुआ? Students, is it clear to all of you all?
Yes, sir.
The rest, all the students,
Sir, could you please repeat once?
ये ना मुझे बताओ ये ब्लॉक ए का एक्सेलरेशन क्या होगा डाउन द इंक्लाइन प्लेन कितना होगा
G
G
sin
by
45.
G by root 2. What is this also? G by root 2. Agreed.
Yes.
What's the formula for acceleration of center of mass? M1 A1 plus M2 A2 upon M1 plus M2 M2. The two masses are same, so denominator will be 2m. यहाँ पे can I remove mass common? So bracket में what I'm going to get? A1 plus A2. Is this clear?
Yes.
Now if I happen to go for the resultant acceleration of center of mass, the resultant acceleration of the two, not acceleration of center, the resultant acceleration is A1 plus A2. How do I get A1 plus A2? Shift this vector parallel to itself. So don't you think so? I'm using triangle law of vector addition over here, tail, head, resultant will be in this direction. So if I say A1 plus A2, my resultant will be AR. And
Yes.
what is AR? What is AR in magnitude? G. Agreed? But where exactly it's directed? Vertically downwards. Therefore, minus G by 2. Yana, is it clear now?
Yes.
But so if we don't take the vector form and if we just substitute the resultant A1 and A2, then we will get different
Over
answer.
here, they'll give you the options in terms of this also. That shows only the magnitude. I can go for G by 2.
No, sir, still if you put M1 A1 as G by root 2 and A2 as also G by root 2, then we get minus G by root 2 as the answer.
Which one? Minus?
Sir, if we take both acceleration as minus G by root 2, then the final answer we would also get as minus G by root 2. No?
No, my dear, minus G upon 2 root 2. 2 is there in the denominator.
So it would get cancelled out.
Yeah, 2 will get cancelled. 2 will cancel. This
Yes,
is G. This is G by root 2, and this is also G by
root 2.
Acceleration of each you are taking it as G by root 2, G by root 2.
Yes, sir.
Then you have 2 G by root 2. My dear, over here you need to go for the direction also, na? Yahan pe, if you consider in this case, it's directed downwards. This is also directed downwards, the acceleration down the inclined plane. So if I want to go for the resultant, I have to go for in vector form in that case. Ye jo G by root 2 mila hai na, this is simply in terms of magnitude. I've got only in terms of magnitude. I haven't taken the direction. Iske pehla wala question maybe we did subtraction because one was going down, the other one was going up in that case. So we had one acceleration greater than the other in that case. यहाँ पे हम लोग नहीं कर रहे. यहाँ पे A1 plus A2 we are still writing in vector form. Since I'm writing in vector form, I need to find out the resultant. It's a combination of center of mass. Try to read this as an object over here. A is moving in the downward direction. B is moving in this direction, students. If I try to go for the coordinate axis also, students, ये सोचो कि ये mass यहाँ पे है, ये mass यहाँ पे, so where is the center of mass? Center of mass will be somewhere over here. So can I say this is actually in terms of tail, head, I can consider, I can shift this vector parallel to itself and I can get the center of mass of the two. When the blocks are over here, I get where exactly center of mass will be over here. So does the center of mass remains constant for both the identical blocks? Yes. But where exactly it's directed? It's directed vertically downwards. So you need to show with the vector notations. And when you go for vector notations, you'll get minus G. So you don't have to consider this as G by root 2 and G by root 2. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, the next one. Can I erase this? Yana, can I erase it?
Yes.
Students, the question given to you is a uniform chain of mass M. Uniform chain of mass M, length L, hangs by a thread suspended at one end. Okay, a uniform chain of mass M and length L hangs on a thread. Okay, hangs on a thread and touches the surface of the table. This is touching the surface of the table. By its lower end. So the question asks us, find the force exerted by the table on the chain. Find the force exerted by table on chain. This is what the question asks. When half of the chain is lying on the table, when half of its length has fallen on the table, okay, half of length is fallen on table. And students, it's not forming any heap. It's along a straight path. So students, again, I speak about it. Uniform chain of mass capital M is given to you. Length L is given to you, students. You're getting it? Hangs on a thread. Hangs on a thread. Touches the surface of the table by its lower end, students. The force exerted by the table on the chain to be found out. Half of the length is fallen on the table, students. So out of the total length, a part of it is hanging, a part of them is fallen onto the table. I need to find the force exerted by table onto the chain. Students, hope the question is clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes, anybody? So shall I give you the hint? Find out the force exerted by a table on the chain. Students, shall I give you all the hints? The chain is of length capital L, mass capital M, is suspended freely by a thread. The other end of the chain is just touching the table surface. Find out the force exerted by the table on the chain when half of the length of the chain is lying on the table, doesn't form a heap. You need to find out force exerted by table on the chain. Since force exerted by table on the chain, that means, can I say it's actually the upthrust? It's actually the force exerted by the table onto the chain is the force which is created due to action. Yani, there is some force which is considered at this point for the chain hanging. How much is the length of its hanging is half. Half of the length is lying on the table. So over here becomes the center of mass for this particular chain. So there is a force exerted by the weight of the chain lying onto it. So there is an action and there is a reaction. Weight and the normal reaction force equal in magnitude, opposite in direction. But how much is the weight of the chain? So it will be half the length because that is lying. And over here is a thrust which is acting onto the hanging part of the chain. So now if I want to find out the force exerted by the table onto the chain, students, that means the net force upwards will be equal to what? It's the force of upthrust by the chain plus force due to the weight of the chain lying on the table. Can you find out the two relations? Students, can you find out the force exerted by the weight? Ye easy hai ki nahi hai? Students, what is the force exerted by the weight? What is the
mg by 2.
Of course, mg, ये total weight इसका हो गया, क्या होगा? mg होगा, तो ये क्या होगा? mg by 2 होगा. तो ये नीचे की तरफ जा रहा है. ये normal reaction force. So what exactly the mg we consider this is mg by 2. यानी ये तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, ये तो mg by 2 आएगा. तुम्हें सिर्फ इसके बारे में सोचना है, अपथ्रस्ट के बारे में सोचना है. Students, have they given you what are the physical quantities given over here? Students have given in terms of mass and length. Means, can I say they've given to you as linear mass density lambda is mass per unit length is given to you? Agreed? Students? Lambda is given as mass per unit length. Now, when I'm dropping the chain, students, when I'm dropping the chain, look at the center of mass of this particular chain. Students, that is also made to fall in the vertically downwards. Is it falling vertical downwards? Yes. And then it strikes at this point. Can I find out the velocity with which the system is set to move in the downward direction? So simply use the formula V square is equal to U square plus 2GH. So students, what is the velocity of the center of mass which is falling in the downward direction for the entire chain of length L? ये मुझे चाहिए. Initial velocity क्या है? 0. So V square is equal to 2G. What is the height? Will you go for L or will you go for L by
1 by
2?
2.
L by 2.
2 हो जाएगा. 2 will get cancelled. So can I say I got the velocity as equal to what? Under root GL. Students, क्या ये clear हुआ? Students, we know lambda. We know velocity of center of mass. I need to find out upthrust. What is the unit of force? The answer is sunna. Kilogram meter per second square स्टूडेंट्स क्या ये क्लियर हुआ? किलोग्राम मीटर पर सेकंड स्क्वायर। अगर सपोज मैं न्यूमरेटर को मास से मल्टीप्लाई करता हूं, डिनोमिनेटर को भी फिर इससे करना पड़ेगा. इफ आई कैंसिल आई एम गेटिंग द यूनिट. Students, don't you think so? We are getting a mathematical relation. Students, what is kilogram per meter? What is kilogram per meter? What is kilogram per meter? Lambda. Agreed? What is velocity is in always? Meter per second, meter square per second square. So can I say this is velocity the whole square? So what is my formula for upthrust? Lambda into v square. Lambda into v square. Do I know lambda? Yes. Mass per unit length. Do I know the velocity of center of mass? Yes. If I multiply this, don't you think so? I'm getting the upthrust for half the length of it. Yes. So what exactly the upthrust I'm going to get it over here will be? So lambda तो m by l है. V square हमें कितना मिला है? So V square GL है. LL will get cancelled. So what's the value of this part of it? So this value will be equal to what we consider mg. ये mg है. ये mg by 2 है. So what exactly the net force which is exerted by the table in the upward direction is 3 mg by 2. Is this clear, students? Students, is it clear? The net upthrust exerted for a chain half placed on the table and half hanging will be what? It's the motion of the center of mass. Am I getting it? When the center of mass reaches to the ground, so we are trying to find out its velocity when it strikes the ground. So v square is equal to u square plus 2gh. So the velocity of center of mass will be under root gl. How is lambda given to you as mass per unit length? That remains constant throughout the part of it. Whether you go for the entire length of the chain, whether you go for a small part of it, the ratio all the time remains constant. I want to find out the force exerted by the surface onto the hanging part of it, upthrust. And what is force? Kilogram meter per second square. तो मैंने क्या किया? Meter by meter मैंने multiply कर दिया. So I'm trying to figure out the unit. मैं dimensions के हिसाब से एक mathematical relation निकाल रहा हूँ. Students, there is no such formula for the upthrust for the chain. But since the variables were given to you, students, it's lambda known to me. And if I know the velocity of the center of mass of the chain in this case, then yes, I can get a relation between these two, and that is lambda v square. If I to go for the unit, lambda is what? Kilogram per mass per unit length. V is what? V square is what? Meter square upon second square. Cancellation, I'll get the unit of force. And how much is the one which is left onto the surface horizontally? It's mg by 2. Addition plus 1 plus half will be 3 by 2. Friends, क्या ये clear हुआ सबको?
Yes, sir.
So, Anne, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Sneha,
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Aditi,
Yes,
Pathway,
sir.
Janani,
Yes, sir.
Sanjana already said it, yes.
Yes, sir, I got it.
Okay, Anna, those who reply, it's only to them I'm asking, students. Those who
Yes,
respond,
sir.
I'm asking them. I'm not interested in asking people who don't reply, don't speak out at all. So unnecessary, why to waste time onto them? When I force them, then only they speak out, otherwise they don't. Students, अगर कुछ भी confusion है, तो please to speak it out. और please अभी ये ध्यान में रखना. Students, the upthrust के relation you can go in this manner also. So this to be a point of synopsis which has to be taken care of. Can I erase this, students? Erase कर दो इसको. Students, can I erase it? Yana?
Yes, sir. I'm done.
ये erase करो Yana or wait?
Sir, I'm done. I told you.
Okay. You speak so the way you speak as if you eat up your words. I am not able to get you so clearly in that case when you speak out. So fast you speak out.
Sir,
हाँ बोलो.
So can we find the force upthrust by using the formula like loss in potential energy is equal to gain in kinetic energy, which will be equal to the work done.
Upthrust, loss in potential energy, and that is equal to gain in kinetic energy. Yes, why not? तो वहां पे भी तुम्हें mgl/2 आएगा, because you have to go for the center of mass. And it's half mv square. Same relation you're using it. लेकिन you are not finding out that upthrust in this case. You are simply trying to find out the velocity in this case. तुम अगर equate करोगे तो तुम्हें velocity मिलेगा वहां पे. You'll find out the velocity. वही same thing I'm trying to consider.
Okay.
Upthrust we consider is a force exerted by the surface vertically upwards, directed to the center of mass. Students, whenever we speak about upthrust, we consider as a force directed vertically upwards, we consider. Okay, next question, students. Now, this is a slightly hope that you can get in forms of an easier one. Students, if in case if I happen to give you a graph in this manner, please pay attention, students. Okay, and if I give you another graph, so students, your reading speaks about first graph, and your bluing speaks about the second graph. Students, can you tell me are these graphs same or they are different from each other? And if they're different, what is the difference between the two? Students?
Sir, what is there on X and Y axis?
You can go for velocity time, acceleration time, displacement time. चलो मैंने displacement time दे दिया.
Sir, the in first graph, the when oscillation is completed, in the second graph, it's not.
It's not. Why not? The second graph is also one oscillation. ये हुआ
So the
आधा crest,
first
ये
one
आधा
is the
crest,
sine
आधा
wave.
crest, ये आधा crest, ये आधा crest मिला के पूरा crest हो गया, पूरा trough हो गया, तो एक oscillation भी ये भी हुआ ना. One oscillation is one crest, one trough. One crest, one trough, one crest, one trough. ये दोनों मिला के crest हो गया. ये somebody was saying something. Sanjana, you were saying something.
So first one is a sine wave, second is a cos wave.
Very good. This is the difference. Second is a cosine wave. A waveform which is in form of cos component we consider. And the reading speaks about, students, sine wave. A sinusoidal wave, students. That means कोई भी अगर algebraic function we consider is, okay, in terms of sinusoidal waveform or a cosine waveform we consider. So these are waveforms which are shown in terms of sine and cos. Now see, if you look at the sine wave, students, where exactly made the sine wave to start from? Mean position. That means I made it to start always from x-axis. ये ध्यान में रखना, students. Cosine waves I'm making it to move from y-axis. अभी मुझे बताओ, do you know what exactly the change in the phase of the two? Change in the phase of the two. Change in the phase of the two at each instant. अभी देखो इन दोनों के बीच में phase difference कितना है? इन दोनों के बीच में phase difference कितना है? इन दोनों के बीच में phase difference कितना है? Anywhere you
90
can see 90 degree. Students अभी ध्यान से सुनना. ये 0 degree है. ये कितना है? 90 degree है. Agreed? यानी अगर ये ब्लूइंग, ध्यान से सुनना स्टूडेंट्स, अगर ये ब्लूइंग वापस मीन पोजीशन पे आएगा तो उसका फेज 0 होगा, लेकिन बाय दैट टाइम रेड हैज रीच्ड ओवर हियर. Red has reached the positive extreme. So can I say there is a difference in phase? There is a difference in phase, and the difference in phase between them is 90 degrees. That is pi by 2. So can I say the two waveforms? The two waveforms are mutually perpendicular to each other. The two waveforms are mutually perpendicular to each other. क्या ये clear हुआ? क्या ये क्लियर हुआ स्टूडेंट्स? देखो रेडिंग जब भी मीन पे सॉरी ब्लूइंग जब भी मीन पे आता है उसी टाइम पे रेडिंग पॉजिटिव एक्सट्रीम पे चला गया, तो ब्लूइंग का फेज 0 हो गया, रेडिंग का 90 डिग्री हो गया, डिफरेंस इन फेजेस 90। अगर मैंने डिस्प्लेसमेंट टाइम ग्राफ दे दिया है, तो स्टूडेंट्स व्हाट एग्जैक्टली द टू वेव फॉर्म्स, हाउ आर दे अलाइन्ड, म्यूचुअली परपेंडिकुलर टू ईच अदर? So when the difference in the phase is one is in form of cos, the other one is in sine, what exactly the difference in phase we consider is 90 degree. Now, what is the reason for me to put forward this? Let us go for an oblique collision. Please pay attention, students. Suppose agar maine tumhe question diya, there is a object which is initially at rest. Okay, this is an object which is at rest, and there is another object which is moving. Okay, this is the first body, and this is the second body. The second body is at rest, and the first body is moving with a velocity v. Now the body is reaching over here. It is in physical contact, the first body. Okay, the question is, students, and both are identical. Students, if in case if I consider, the question is, students, a ball of mass m, a ball of mass m, a ball of mass m makes an elastic collision, makes an elastic collision with another identical ball at rest, with another identical ball but at rest. So the question is, show that if the collision is oblique, show that if the collision is oblique, if the collision is oblique, the bodies go at right angles to each other after collision. Bodies go at right angle to each other after collision. Students, hope the question is clear. Hope the question is clear. I repeat, students, a body undergoes, a body moving with velocity v undergoes an elastic collision with an identical body at rest. If the collision is oblique, the body goes, show that the body goes at right angle to each other after collision. Students, is the question clear? You have to show that after collision, how are the two bodies are going to go. Yes, come on. Suhani, Sneha, Sanjana, Chati, Aditi, Arthvi. At times, Janani today is zipped. She's not speaking a word. Janani, are you there or are you drowsy?
Sir, I'm there, sir.
Okay. Did you understand this waveform?
Sort of, like not completely, but I'm trying to comprehend.
You're trying to?
Comprehend completely.
Okay, students, let me put forward this once again. Students, listen carefully. Students, please pay attention for this. Students, let us say that the motion I'm trying to go in anti-clockwise. Let us go for circular type of it. Okay, this is a circle. Please pay attention, students. Can you tell me what is the angle traced over here? How much is this? Students, how much is this angle? 90 degree. Agreed. If I
Yes, sir.
start my
Yes,
motion from
sir.
here, यहाँ से यहाँ पे कितना degree है, students? Can you tell me? If I start my motion from here, 180.
180.
यानी particle यहाँ से यहाँ पे आएगा तो what exactly the degrees which has covered? 180. If the particle reaches along negative axis, तो क्या होगा? How much is that? 270.
270.
And if it comes back to its original, can I say that is 360 degrees, 2 pi? क्या ये clear हुआ students सबको? हाँ students, is that clear? Now
Yes.
let us go for the blue ink. Let us go for the blue ink. Students, very exactly the blue ink. If I happen to consider, if I speak about the blue ink students, the blue ink is initially we consider as students. If I happen to consider the blue ink is at what? It's at a perpendicular. Let us say the blue ink starts from here. The particle, let me take this as Q. Q is starting over here. Students, it's coming back to mean. So let us say the blue ink has come back over here. Mean position. Look at the red ink. Please pay attention, students. Red ink. Look at the red ink. Red ink starting from where? So red ink is starting from mean. And I'm taking the same direction. By that time, where exactly it's reaching? Can I say it is reaching towards the positive extreme? आया ना?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
तो इसका एंगल कितना होगा? P का एंगल क्या होगा सर? ये 0 डिग्री से P किस तरफ पहुंच गया? 90 डिग्री पे. आया ना?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
If
sir.
I happen to go for Q, Q कहाँ पे था? What exactly I'll consider will be? So Q was over here and let's come back to, can I say it is 0 degrees coming back to same we consider. That means it's coming back to equilibrium position. Is this clear? If I take this as my initial position and coming back to this, what exactly the difference in phase between the two? How much is the difference in phase? 90 degrees. That means one of the waveform is traveling and the other waveform are mutually perpendicular to each other. Students, mutually perpendicular to each other. That means how are they represented? They can be represented in terms of sine or cosine form. Sine form always speaks about along the x-axis, cosine always speaks about along y-axis, and they are mutually perpendicular to each other. Look at this collision now. Now, when you look at this collision, students, ये तुम्हारा कौन सा collision है? Elastic collision है. Now, what is the velocity with the body? V is moving. So the V is moving in this direction. Answer sunna. V is going over here. This is the velocity of the body we consider. But now after collision, how does the body move? Sir, ये जो body है वो इस तरफ जाएगा, forming an angle theta. तो ये body किस तरफ जाएगा? इस तरफ जाएगा. Can you tell me what are its components? अगर मैंने इसको theta ले लिया तो can I say this becomes V cos theta? ये क्या बन जाएगा?
B sin theta.
Theta. Can I say again sine and cos are the two components for the same two bodies? How are these two are now? How I shift this vector parallel to itself? So am I getting tail, head, tail of the first vector to the head of the second vector? So how are these two are mutually perpendicular to each other? Is this clear, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Simple vectors, ये भी simple vectors form में लिया मैंने wave form में बता दिया. दो particles के बीच में same thing I've taken the two waveform and how are they mutually perpendicular? एक है theta, one is component of cos, the other one is sin theta. So the question was, students, there is a body of mass m having an elastic collision with other identical body which is at rest. If the collision is oblique, is it an oblique collision? Yes, students, it's an oblique collision. Then show that they will go at right angles to each other. So can you prove them? Yes. अगर ये v जा रहा है, ये अगर मैंने थीटा लिया तो 2 इस तरफ जाएगा, तो इसी का अगर मैं कंपोनेंट यहाँ पे लेता तो v cos थीटा होगा, तो वो वाला क्या बन जाएगा? v sin थीटा बन जाएगा. How are these two mutually perpendicular to each other? क्या ये क्लियर हुआ? Theta will be 45. Is this clear, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, can I erase it, students?
Yes, sir.
So please, students, do keep this as a point that if two identical bodies are having an elastic collision and the collision is oblique, after collision, yes, they can go mutually perpendicular to each other. Okay, now let us recap whether you can get this answer or not. Students, given to you now, this is a question which a type of it already we have done it earlier also, students, but hope that you remember the relation, students. A rocket with an initial mass, students, a rocket with an initial mass of 1000 kilograms. A rocket with an initial mass of 1000 kilograms is launched vertically upwards. It's launched vertically upwards from rest under gravity. So this is the force of gravity acting in the downwards. There is an upthrust force which is acting on the rocket. Okay. The rocket burns fuels at the rate of, the fuel is burnt at the rate of 10 kilograms second inverse. Okay. The burnt matter is ejected vertically downward. The burnt matter is ejected in vertically downwards, and that will give you a propulsion in the upward direction. So the burnt matter is ejected vertically downward. Now I'm not putting the variable for it. Burnt matter projected downward with, since the burnt matter is projected downward with a speed of 2000 meter per second. Okay, I'm deliberately not giving you the variable. अगर मैं variable दे देता हूँ students, you'll get a mathematical formula easily. Okay, 2000 meter per second relative. Of course, it's relative to the rocket. Always. If burning, if burning ceases after 1 minute, so burning ceases after 1 minute, students, find maximum velocity of rocket. Find maximum velocity of rocket. Given to you as G as how much? 10 meter second square inverse. Students, hope the question is clear to all of you all. I repeat, students, given to you that a rocket with an initial mass of 1000 kilograms, M0, given a variable janbuj ke liye 1000 kilograms, are getting it initially at rest. Okay, it's made to move vertically upwards. Okay, the fuel is burned at the rate of 10 kilograms second inverse. The burnt matter is projected in the downward direction relative to the rocket, and that is 2000 meter. 2000 meter per second, students. This is 2000 meter per second. Burning ceases. The burning stops after 1 minute. 1 minute we consider. Find maximum velocity of rocket given to us G as 10 meter second square inverse. Students, you all have to leave after this. Students, you all have colleges. Students. Hello.
Sir, I talked to Gnaneshwar sir about this. He said we can go at 10:25 also. So
You have
no
to
need
work.
to end it early. Yes, sir.
Oh. Can you get an answer for this, students? Yes, anybody? Friends, anybody knows the formula for it? The propulsion of rocket, do you remember?
Yes, sir.
Without turning the pages. Yes, Suhani, what's the formula?
Sir, the formula for maximum velocity is u minus gt plus relative velocity vr into 2.3 into ln m0 plus upon m.
Okay, ln ln m0.
m0 upon m.
Okay. Of course, absolutely correct. Now this is the Vmax I need to find out. Now, can you give me the variables? What are all of these variables speaks about? How much is u? Is u 0?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so u is 0, you can consider 0. How much is g? I told you to take it as 10 meter per second square. What is the time you're going to take it? For how much time?
60 seconds.
1 minute. And 1 minute corresponds to how much? 60 seconds. So I can go for 60 seconds. What is relative velocity with respect to the rocket is? How much is VR?
1000 meters per second.
2000. It's only now you need to, and this is meter per second. It's only you need to get for M0 and M, and you need to go for this ln part of it, the ln part of it. First of all, what is M0?
So total
What is M0? The total mass. What is M? What is M?
mass of rocket.
M is mass of rocket, that means removing the fuel. So can I say 1000 kilograms was the total? How much is the fuel? What is the fuel is burning at the rate of?
10 kg per second.
And it is made to burn for how much time? 60 seconds.
60 seconds.
After that it ceases. So how much it will be? Sir, 10 into 60 हो जाएगा ये. Answer the students. Kilogram per second into second. तो ये mass reduce होगा कि नहीं होगा?
Yes.
Yes.
The fuel which is burnt. So now how much is the mass left? The mass of the rocket we consider 1000 minus 600 will be how much? 400. Can I say this much is 400 and this is how much? 1000. Now can you solve and get the answer? All the variables are given to you. Try to get me the correct answer in meter per second. Suhani. No idea. It's incorrect, Suhani. Yes, anybody? Students, if we try to solve it, what exactly I try to go for it? Vmax. Students, Vmax is equal to how much? ये कितना है? 0 है. So if I happen to put forward over here, students, if I try to write down over here, Vmax. Zero minus 10 into 60. Agreed?
Yes, sir.
That's VR is equal to how much?
2000.
2000. This is ln 1000 by how much?
400.
Now, students, when you solve this part of it, 2 zeros get cancelled. So can I say this becomes 2.5? So students, can I write on this as 2000? अभी इसको मैं यहाँ पे लिख रहा हूँ. Students, I'm putting this part over here. Okay, ये 2000 है. This is ln ln. So this is 10 by 4 and 5 by 2. So can I say this is 2.5 minus 600 होगा. Now you need to use your log. Students, अगर तुम्हें question पूछा गया तो तुम्हें logs देना पड़ेगा. Are you getting it? So now if I happen to go for 2000, students, what exactly ln of 2.5 will be? Students, if I want to write it in terms of exponential form, तो इसको कैसे लिखोगे? Log of 2.5 to the base of e. Ln को can I run this in form of exponential? Students, अगर उसको मुझे to the base of, because normally when you speak about log, students, it's always students, have you done logs and anti-log, students? Students, do you know how to find out logs, anti-logs?
No, sir.
I'm asking you seriously, do you know how to find out logs, anti-logs, natural sines, natural cosines, natural tangents?
No, sir.
No, sir.
None of you all.
No, sir.
It's not done in your boards at all.
So
No,
in 10th,
sir.
we had done to find the natural science and tangents, etc.
We didn't
Okay.
had it in CBSE. sir.
CBSE didn't have it.
Yeah.
Because when you're giving your board exam, students, I'm telling you very clearly, you will be getting problems which are of these type where you need to use calculations. You are not going to solve problems by estimations or direct way of approach. There are no MCQs. The MCQ section is there, but you will get good problems with good calculations. You need to know how to find out logs. You're getting it? So most probably see to that you try working out questions of your boards with respect to logs part of it. Somewhere यहाँ पे भी logs use होगा, students. Okay, which I'm going to just tell you in the way of approach, students. Log of 2.5 to the base of e, students. इसको हम अगर natural calc में लिखेंगे तो क्या लिखूंगा मैं? 2.303.
303 log of 2.5.
Students, अगर तुम anybody has any, यानी यहाँ पे मैं लिखूंगा तो into क्या लिखूंगा मैं? 2.303 log of 2.5 to the base of 10 minus 600. Agree? यानी मुझे log of 2.5 to the base of 10 देखना है. Friends, anybody has a logbook in front of you?
So we can find log of 5 by 2. So log of 5 minus log of 2.
Yes,
But
sir.
what is log of 5?
So
0.6.
0.699.
0.609.
Okay, that you're looking into the logbooks and then finding it out.
No,
No,
sir.
No,
sir,
sir.
we
No, the
remember
value of
values of log
2,
5.
3, 5.
Acha, that you remembered it?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what's the answer for this? Is the answer of 2.5 is slightly greater than 0.30? Log of 5 minus log of 2 का आंसर क्या आ रहा है? Students, what are you getting? Log of 5 minus log of 2 का आंसर क्या आ रहा है? Is the answer 0.30 से ज्यादा आ रहा है?
हाँ,
3
sir.
से कितना आ रहा है?
So it is 0.398.
0.398.
398.
And now you have your logbooks. Anybody has a logbook in front of you?
No, sir.
Nobody has a logbook. Okay, fine, doesn't matter. Okay, students. So let us go for, now suppose if we happen to go for, what are you going as? Of course, you should know these, students. Log 2 is, what is the value of log 2? 0.3010. Are you getting it? Students, those who know the values of log 2, what is the value of log 2?
301.
0.301.
Yes. And you've got the log 5, so you go for your simple rules of logarithms. So it's log of m by n to the base of 10. So it's log of m minus log of n. So same thing you're trying to do it. The answer is 0.398. Now, if I want to get my answer with respect to multiple choice questions, the app is 0.398 students. So can I put this as simply 0.4? Agreed. Multiplying it, get the answer. Check the answer. What are you getting the answer as? Are you getting the answer in 4,000 only? Is it? This is 4 by 10. 2 2s are 4, 2 5s are 10. 5 8s are 40. 5 9s are 45. 5 2s are 10. 5 1s are 5. 0.0 somewhere. Let me take it as 0 only. So 2 1s are 2. 2 2s are 4. 9 2s are 18. Minus 600. Since you'll get your answer is around 1 2 3
1,200.
No, my dear. How could you get 40,000?
Sir, I said 1,200.
1 2 3 6 क्या? The correct answer students 1 2 3 2.6 मीटर पर सेकेंड आना चाहिए. तो अगर तुम बेसिक लॉग्स के हिसाब से भी करोगे तो तुम्हें आंसर मिलेगा. ये 2000 को 2.303 यानी 2 into 2303, so that is 4606 into 4 by 10, that is 2 by 5. Try to get a reduced form, you'll get in terms of 900 multiplied by 2 in terms of 1800 के आसपास आएगा. Okay, and then subtract 600, you'll get your answer in terms of 1200 के आसपास. Is this clear, students? Calculations is clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can I erase it? Students, can I erase it?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sparsh is 1 minute. Sparsh is 1 minute. Sparsh is no. अरे स्पर्श मुंह से बोलना, अनम्यूट करके बोलो ना यार. अगर मैं नहीं देखता तो मैंने तुम्हारा देख लिया, इसलिए भी रोका हूँ मैं. स्पर्श. Yes, Sparsh, can I erase now?
Yes, one last part.
Oh, very good. Just now you said, अरे तू आंसर क्यों नहीं देता? आंसर के लिए मुंह क्यों नहीं बोलता? और तेरे फ्रेंड्स भी नहीं करते हैं. हाँ स्पर्श. होम
पता
है,
नहीं.
edit है. हाँ साउथ साउथ तो लेक्चर ही मिस करता हो शायद. कॉलेज वगैरह स्कूल वगैरह अटेंड कर रहा है. इट सीम्स लाइक दैट. स्कूल्स के लेक्चर्स अटेंड कर रहा है और फिर शायद इसके वीडियो लेक्चर्स देख रहा है वो बस.
Done, sir.
Okay. Friends, why did I give you this question? You know, just to be in touch with your questions related to your rocket propulsion, friends, okay? Because you have laws of motion coming in the next chapter in the exams, so you might come across with this. Okay, now friends, the next question, let's see whether you can answer for this. Okay, students, let me give you the options. The options I'm giving it to you is the first one. It's AG minus 1 upon U square sine 2 alpha. Option B, AG upon U square sine 2 alpha minus AG. Option C, 1 upon A square sine 2 alpha minus AG. And D, AG upon AG minus U square sine 2 alpha. Students, hope the options are clear to all of you. You are able to see the options clearly. Now, question, students, what exactly question the students? Students, given to you that is a body is projected. I'm going for projectile motion, students, because you have it back on Sunday. Okay, so there is a wall over here. Okay, a wall is over here and a body is projected, students. Okay, अगर मैंने ये point O ले लिया है तो body is projected, it hits the wall. Okay, at somewhere point B, let us say at point B. And after hitting, students, it's coming back at point O. And students, ये हुआ motion towards the ball. Are you getting it? This is path O, A, B is towards the wall. And it hits and it comes back along the path B, C, O. The distance of projection from the wall is small a. That's why when you see in the variable, this is small a, students. Is the distance of projection from the wall is small a, students, okay? And if I say where the body is projected, students, the body is projected with a velocity u, forming an angle alpha, with the horizontal, students. The body is projected with a velocity u, forming an angle alpha with the horizontal. So now my question to you, students, listen carefully. A ball is projected from the ground. A ball is projected from the ground with a speed u at an angle alpha with the horizontal, students. It collides with the wall. It collides with the wall at a distance a from the point of projection and returns to its original position. Returns to its original position. Students, the question asks is the coefficient of restitution between the ball and the wall is. The coefficient of restitution between the ball and the wall is. So this all expressions are for E, are for E, are for E. Is the question clear, students?
Sir, repeat.
Okay, the question I'm repeating, students. A ball is projected from a ground with a velocity u forming an angle alpha with the horizontal. It hits the wall at a distance a. It hits the wall at a distance a and returns back to the same position O. That is original position. The question asks us find out the coefficient of restitution between the wall and the ball. The path of it to travel, students, it's OAB, and the path from it to come back is BCO. Friends, क्या question clear हुआ सबसे पहले? students?
Yes.
Okay. Any one of you all? Students, shall I give you some hint? मुझे बताओ ये जो options है, do you see any cosine functions over here?
No, sir.
अभी ध्यान से सुनना. How to just think, students. अगर मैं थोड़ा सा भी तुम्हें hint दे दूं, I do feel so if I try to just give you support, you'll be able to crack this question. है तुम्हारा easy अगर तुम्हें थोड़ा सा basics तुम्हें पता हो, students, and I have told you very clearly. अगर तुम देखोगे ना students, पहले केस में path कहाँ से कहाँ है students? It's going from O to A and then to B, okay, and it's hitting at a distance A. तो मुझे बताओ students, during the projection, students, what about the horizontal velocity? Students, the horizontal velocity along x-axis remains constant, and that will be equal to u cos alpha, students. Hi, Anna. Students.
Yes, sir.
और ये किसका है? ये किसका है? तो मतलब सर, initial velocity of the ball. Agreed? हाँ? Hi, Anna.
Yes, sir.
Hitting the wall. ये wall है, students. This is the wall. What is the initial velocity of the wall? This is u1. What is u2 for the wall? Is the wall at rest? Yes, 0. क्या ये clear हुआ? After hitting, does the ball moves forward? Yes. And then its path is over here. Agreed? The path is B to C and C to A. Friends, can I find out the velocity of the ball coming back? Students? So can I say that is V1? ये मुझे नहीं पता. Ball का after hitting. आया ना?
Yes, sir.
लेकिन V2 बॉल का तो V2 वॉल का तो मुझे पता है, वो तो हमेशा रेस्ट पे रहेगा. कुछ समझ में आ रहा है स्टूडेंट्स? मैं क्या करना चाहता हूं सर, आपको कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ रेस्टिट्यूशन का क्वेश्चन पूछा है ना, तो स्टूडेंट्स कांट यू फाइंड आउट E coefficient of restitution का relation with respect to the velocity? Can I get the velocity of the ball which is coming back? Yes. What's the formula of coefficient of restitution? We'll say, sir, it's V2 minus V1 upon U1 minus E2. क्या ये clear हुआ, students?
Yes, sir.
How much is V2? तुम बोलोगे सर 0 है. V1 सर आपने पूछा फाइंड आउट करना है. अपॉन U1 सर U1 तो U cos alpha I cap होगा, because along x axis जा रहा है. U2 0 होगा. तो अगर मैं V1 की वेलोसिटी निकालूं स्टूडेंट्स, व्हाट इज द वेलोसिटी ऑफ रिकॉइल? कैन आई से माइनस EU cos alpha I cap. क्या ये क्लियर हुआ स्टूडेंट्स? Students, don't you think so that the coefficient of restitution will change along x-axis? Students, the vertical velocities will be simply u sine theta upward and u sine theta downwards. Students, क्या ये sorry u sine alpha and u sine alpha vertically upwards, u sine alpha downwards. क्या ये तुम्हें मिला? Velocity of the ball hitting and coming back. Negative sign shows it's directed along negative x-axis. So what is the velocity of the ball after hitting the wall? EU cos alpha. क्या ये clear हुआ?
Yes.
Students?
Yes, sir.
लेकिन जब भी तुम ऑप्शंस देखते हो कहाँ पे भी कॉस है ही नहीं, कहाँ पे भी कॉस नहीं है स्टूडेंट्स, ये पूरा इक्वेशन साइन में दिया हुआ है। एंड स्टूडेंट्स अगर मैं साइन में लेता हूं तो कहना से सर साइन में दिया है तो डू यू नो द फॉर्मूला स्टूडेंट्स, व्हाट इज द फॉर्मूला ऑफ टाइम ऑफ फ्लाइट? टाइम ऑफ फ्लाइट, time of flight for the journey is always 2u sine theta by g. Students, is it clear? Students?
Yes.
And that time of flight all the time remains constant. Abhi dekho, somewhere sine alpha is playing a role. Yes, sir. Students, over here, what is time of flight? Students, over here, time of flight is what? Since it's a time of flight will be time taken to move from O to A to B. Please pay attention. O to A to B plus time taken to move from B to C to O. क्या ये clear हुआ?
Yes.
Total time. Now when I speak about, is time a scalar quantity or vector quantity, students? Is time a scalar or vector?
Scale.
Scalar. What is the total time of flight? So total time of flight all the time remains constant. तो यहाँ पे t की जगह पे कहना रहना over here 2u sine alpha by g. Yes. What is the time taken to move from OAB? So time. We know that speed is equal to distance upon time. So time will be equal to distance covered. So distance covered along the horizontal will be A. Upon what is the speed? So speed along the horizontal is u cos alpha. So समझ में आ रहा है? Because in the first case, what exactly the horizontal speed was u cos alpha. This was u cos alpha, and coming back is eu cos alpha. ये u cos alpha था, और जब ये वापस रिटर्न आता तो eu cos alpha होगा. तो ये हुआ तुम्हारा टाइम टू गो. एंड व्हाट इज द टाइम टू कम बैक? डिस्टेंस अपॉन स्पीड. व्हाट इज द स्पीड टू कम बैक? eu cos alpha. क्या ये क्लियर हुआ?
Sir, could you please repeat everything after time?
The time of flight is a time taken for the projectile to move from point O. You start the stopwatch, it hits the wall and it comes back to point O. That is a total time of journey we consider. For any projectile motion, the total time of journey we consider is what? Always 2u sine theta by g. But instead of theta, the angle of projection is alpha. And it's landing back to the same point. Distance is a. So time of flight remains the same 2u sine alpha throughout the journey upon g. But what exactly?
But why did we use time?
Of course, because I want to get my answer in terms of sine. See over here.
We can use range also, no?
My dear, in range, what exactly will try to go for it? What exactly range? How do you go about with the range part
Because
of it?
u square sine to alpha is the formula of range,
What is
right?
the range in both the cases? Range in both the cases will be what? It's only the
Has to be
distance.
same.
Yeah, so it's a distance. I need to go with respect to velocity. I need to go with respect to velocity. And the time of going and time of coming back is different because we have the velocity changing by a factor E. The velocity is changing by a coefficient of restitution by a factor E. So I need to go for the written velocity as EU cos alpha. और अगर तुम range देखोगे तो range के time पे what exactly we consider will be equal to? It's u square sine to theta. The initial velocity in both the cases will remain the same. We'll go for u square itself only. I have to go for equation of time to move from OA, because the time to move from OAB and time to move from BCO may not be same, but the total time of the journey remains constant. Now solve this equation and make E as a subject. Now to solve this equation and make E as a subject. Are you getting sine to alpha?
Is the answer B?
Is the answer?
B.
B.
Absolutely correct. Answer is B.
Sir, how did we get A upon u cos alpha?
A upon?
U cos alpha.
My dear,
The last
speed
equation.
speed is distance upon time. Is this formula clear with you?
Yes.
So what is time? Distance upon speed. Distance while going is how much? A. Agreed. And when going, what is the
Yes.
speed? U cos alpha. But while coming back, distance is same. But what is the speed? This is the velocity of the ball after hitting the wall. And that's how found out by coefficient of restitution. But students, my options were not in cos. My options were in terms of sine, and that was the sine to alpha. Students, what's the formula of sine to alpha? 2 sin alpha cos alpha. यानी किसी भी हालत में cos मिलेगा वो यहाँ पे multiply होगा. Are you getting it, students? And E becomes your factor. You will get the option as B. Jana, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Students, the answer for this will be it's AG upon U square sine to alpha minus AG we consider. So students, we can't go for the formula for range. We can't go for the formula for height of projection. We have to go for the time of flight. And time of flight, we simply consider as time of ascent plus time of descent. Are you getting it? In this case, for a projectile, students, over here, the time of ascent, we consider the time for it to reach. Simply depends on the distance and speed. But while coming back, students, your speed is changed by a factor E. It's E times U cos alpha. And the coefficient of, because some part of the energy is absorbed in this case. So E stands for your coefficient of restitution, and its values lies between 0 and 1. So now if I take 0 and 1, students, suppose अगर U cos alpha मैंने 10 लिया था, students, assume 10 meter per second. 10 meter per second से जा रहा है. और जब E की वैल्यू suppose अगर मैंने 0.5 ले ली, तो what happens? 5 meter per second से वापस आ रहा है. Are you getting it? But see the projection, थोड़ा सा projection height पे चला गया, so it will fall down at the same point. You have assumed that it's falling at the same point. So is this clear to all of you all?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Since in the next lecture, we'll be going ahead with your next chapter, students, okay? Rotational dynamics. But students, see to that you go on consistently revise your formulas very thoroughly, students, for the chapters which you have it for the exams. Try to solve, and before the exam, solve one paper or a few questions, students, as a test. You're going to get solved it as a test. Before giving any test, students, try to give a test for yourself and see how exactly, and go for more of positive marking, students. Of course, if you attempt the entire paper, you will go for negative, but think in that time, get solving entirely and then going into negative. Solve maximum and try to get positive. Okay. And when you get the paper also, don't think like that. Maybe the first 3 or 4 questions are maybe they might give you very tough, which makes you to lose your confidence. Am I getting it? And at the end, it might give you somewhat easy. That depends. तुम पहले 2-3 प्रॉब्लम पहले वाले रीड करो, फिर लास्ट के 4-5 प्रॉब्लम रीड करो. Am I getting it? And judge it. How is the paper? So you come to know about it कि अगर पीछे वाले क्वेश्चन तो लास्ट 10 पहले अटेम्प्ट करो. And then but see to that when you try to mark down, please mark it very properly. Don't go anyhow. And read your questions very carefully. Okay.
So when will be your doubt lecture?
Doubt lectures